You think you're out of time, right? But you're not out of time. You're out of integrity. Here's what you're really running from. The fact that you've been making excuses, procrastinating, and pretending the life you want will somehow just happen if you wish hard enough. You think the world owes you because you've tried, but the truth is, the world doesn't owe you shit. Most men think they're behind because of circumstances. A rough start, too many responsibilities, too little time. But if you really look in the mirror, you'll see something different. You've been too weak to do the hard things that actually move the needle. You're making excuses, and your life is suffering because of it. You've probably told yourself things like, I'll get to it tomorrow. When this is over, I'll finally make a move. I just need a little more time to figure this out. But that's the lie, and you're living it. Let me hit you with the cold, hard truth. Tomorrow never comes. You can keep pushing the needle forward, or you can stay exactly where you are, but don't kid yourself about why you're stuck. This video isn't a feel-good pep talk, it's a wake-up call. Because here's the real question. Are you ready to take full control of your life? Or are you going to keep waiting for someone else to step in and take it for you? I'll say it again. No one is coming to save you. No one cares if you fail, and no one is watching your back while you try to figure it out. This is your fight. And here's what's at stake. If you don't take control, someone else will. They'll use you as a tool. They'll mold you to fit their agenda. They'll build their dream on your sacrifice, and you'll die in the wreckage of your own neglect. If you hear nothing else today, hear what I say at the end. One truth, one shift, and everything could change. Let's dive in. If you want control, it starts with ownership, and most men will do anything to avoid that first step, because ownership means you can't blame anyone anymore. And I'm not talking about control the way your boss controls your hours, or the way your partner controls the thermostat. I'm talking about owning your life, owning your decisions, owning your actions, and most importantly, owning your results. Because here's where the rubber meets the road. If you can't own your life, you'll never control it. I'll give you an example. Most men don't succeed because they've been trained to dodge responsibility. They think the world is unfair, and so they stop expecting much from themselves. I don't have time because my boss is a dick. I can't lose weight because I've got bad genes. I'm stuck because of my childhood. But here's what I know. If it's your life, it's your fault. And I'm not saying this to be harsh. I'm saying it because I care enough to tell you the truth. It's the truth that's going to set you free. You want a reason why you're stuck? It's because you've been giving your power away. You've been outsourcing responsibility for your results to everything but yourself. That ends now. You're not a victim. Stop acting like one. If you've been struggling, it's because you haven't taken full ownership. Sure, life has challenges. The grind is real. But if you don't own your circumstances, they'll own you. The difference between men who rise and those who fall isn't their circumstances. It's their mindset. When you own your life, you stop making excuses. You stop pushing blame. And you stop waiting for perfect conditions to make a move. Here's the real power. When you take ownership, you start to see new possibilities. You stop looking for a way out and start finding solutions. You stop wondering why things aren't happening for you, and you start making them happen. And if you've ever wondered why some men rise while others get stuck, it's because they've learned to take full ownership. Your life reflects your choices, your mindset, and your willingness to take responsibility. You might be uncomfortable hearing this, but that's where the transformation starts. Stop blaming others. Stop blaming time. Take ownership of everything you are and everything you want to become. Here's where most men lose the fight. They leave themselves back doors, safety nets, escape plans. You want real control? Kill the back doors, burn the exits, and force yourself to rise. You can't reach your highest potential if you leave yourself a back door. Back doors are the escape routes. Safety nets, the just in case this doesn't work out plans. You know the ones I'm talking about. The plans you set up to protect your fragile ego, just in case you fail. I'll try this new business venture, but if it doesn't work, I'll go back to my job. I'll commit to this fitness routine, but if I miss a couple of days, it's no big deal. I'll go after this goal, but if it doesn't happen, I'm still young. You're fooling yourself. You don't need a back door. The moment you set up an exit plan, you're giving yourself permission to fail. You're telling your mind that it's okay to give up when things get tough. And here's the ugly truth. If you've got a back door, you'll eventually use it. The second the pressure hits, the self-doubt creeps in, and you'll see that back door glistening in the corner of your mind, whispering, it's okay, just quit, it wasn't meant to be. But the moment you shut the back door is the moment you make success inevitable. I'm not saying it's easy. In fact, it's going to be harder than anything you've ever done. But that's where the magic happens. You're in the fire now. There's no escape, no fallback. You either rise or burn, and the only way to rise is to stay in the heat. You don't need a plan B. You need a plan A that's so good, so solid, that there's no other option but to make it work. I'll give you a personal example. When I first started my journey, I didn't give myself the luxury of a backup plan. I told myself, this is the only option. There's no going back. Was it scary? Hell yes. Did I want to quit at times? Absolutely. But here's what I knew. There's no growth in comfort. There's no success in safety nets. There's only real progress when you burn your back door and force yourself to go through the front door, no matter how hard it is. If you want to take full control of your life, you've got to close the back doors. Commit. and let your actions scream louder than your fears. Your emotions, they're not your leader, and if you keep letting them steer the ship, don't be surprised when you crash. It's time to take the wheel back. Let's get real for a second. Too many people make the mistake of living their life based on how they feel. If they're tired, they skip the gym. If they're stressed, they reach for comfort food. If they're sad, they shut down and avoid their responsibilities. But let me tell you this, if you want to be in control, you can't let your feelings drive the bus. Emotions are important. They give us signals about what's going on inside, but they should never dictate your behaviour. Here's the truth. You are not your emotions. You are who you choose to be, regardless of how you feel. Imagine you're building a skyscraper. If you decide that every time you feel a gust of wind, you'll stop construction and wait for the weather to settle, that building will never get finished. Every time you hit a rough patch, you'll wait for the perfect conditions before you continue. And guess what? The perfect conditions will never come. Here's where most people go wrong. They wait until they feel ready to make the change, to do the hard thing. But being ready isn't a feeling, it's an action. It's showing up when you don't feel like it. It's pushing through the resistance. It's getting comfortable, being uncomfortable. Here's what it looks like in real life. You don't feel like working out today? Good. That's when you push harder. You don't feel like putting in the extra hours at work? Tough. That's where the big payoffs are. You don't feel like getting up early to chase your goals? Fine. Let the weak stay in bed. You don't have to like it. You just have to do it. And here's the kicker. The more you do it, the easier it gets. Your emotions don't define you. Your decisions do. So the next time you feel like skipping the gym, taking the easy route, or quitting before you reach the finish line, remember, you're not weak because you feel weak. You're strong because you act in spite of it. Want to take full control of your life? Stop letting your emotions decide your fate. You decide every single time. Forget goals. Goals are weak without standards. If you want to control your life, set standards so high that excuses don't even stand a chance. Let's get one thing straight. Goals are hype. Standards are identity. You've probably set 100 goals in your life. I want to lose weight. I want to make 6 figures. I want to be more productive. Cool story. So does everyone else. But here's the difference between winners and wishers. Winners don't just set goals. They install standards. Goals give you direction. Standards give you traction. Goals say what you want. Standards dictate who you are. Let me break it down. A man with a goal says, I want to be disciplined. A man with a standard wakes up at 5 a.m. whether it's Monday or Saturday, rain or shine, motivation or not. A man with a goal says, I want to start a business. A man with a standard blocks out 2 hours every night to build, even when he's dead tired after work, because that's just what he does. See the difference? Your life right now isn't built by your goals. It's built by your lowest standards. Let that hit. If your body's out of shape, it's because your standard for health is soft. If your finances are a mess, it's because your standard for spending is undisciplined. If your days feel aimless, it's because your standard for focus is non-existent. And here's the kicker. Your standards aren't what you say they are. They're what you tolerate. You don't rise to the level of your dreams. You fall to the level of your habits. So ask yourself, what do I tolerate from myself? What's the bare minimum I allow to pass as acceptable? You want control over your life? You want real power? Then raise your bloody standards. Make them non-negotiable. Make them sacred. Make them painful to break. Because when your standards are higher than your excuses, you win by default. If your chest is tight right now, that's not anxiety. That's truth pressing up against your denial. Most men ignore it. They numb it with comfort, distractions, and fake confidence. But not you. You're still watching, still here. So here's your move. Like the video and subscribe. Not for me, for you. As proof that you're not another man asleep at the wheel. This channel is a mirror, and if your life reflected back to you right now, would you see progress or just potential rotting on the shelf? Look around you. Your environment is either building you or breaking you. And if you're living in a cage, don't expect to fly. You are not just a product of your choices. You're a product of your environment. Your mind is a sponge, and whether you like it or not, it's soaking up everything around you. The conversations, the energy, the clutter, the content, the habits of the people closest to you. So here's the question. Is your environment building you or burying you? Take a hard look around. Are your friends pushing you forward or pulling you sideways? Is your room a temple of clarity or a junkyard of distraction? Are you feeding your brain content that sharpens your focus or dulls your edge? Because environment isn't neutral. It's shaping you every second, every day. And most men don't even see the trap. They live in chaos and call it normal. They surround themselves with mediocrity and call it loyalty. They scroll through trash content and wonder why they can't think straight. Listen, if your environment is full of comfort, noise and weakness, guess what you're becoming? Comfortable, distracted, weak. You cannot outperform your environment long term. Even the most disciplined man will eventually fall if he lives in a space that constantly pulls him backwards. So what's the fix? Build a launch pad, clean your space. Make your physical environment reflect the life you want. Audit your circle. Cut dead weight. Hang with winners, not whiners. Curate your inputs. Feed your mind with power. Books, podcasts, conversations, challenges. This isn't just some productivity hack. It's a survival strategy, because if you're trying to transform your life in an environment that's built to keep you small, you're fighting gravity with broken wings. Rebuild the space you live in, mentally, physically, emotionally, so that it forces you to rise. Because when your environment demands greatness from you, you stop negotiating with weakness, and you start living like the man you were meant to become. Stop saying you don't have time. The problem isn't time, it's your priorities. And until you fix that, you'll keep losing hours, and your life along with them. Let's kill the most common excuse on the planet. I don't have time. You hear it everywhere. From broke people, unfit people, people stuck in the same cycle for years. They all sing the same chorus. I'm just too busy. But here's the truth that cuts through the noise. You're not too busy. You're just not serious. You scroll for hours. You binge Netflix. You hit snooze 3 times every morning. Then you tell yourself you're exhausted because life is hard. No, you're exhausted because you're undisciplined. Your calendar is a reflection of your values. And if your day is filled with junk, guess what your life is going to be filled with? Garbage. Here's how to take back control. Stop managing time like it's this fragile little concept you need to respect. Dominate your time. Own it. Schedule it. Protect it like your life depends on it, because it does. The problem isn't that the day is too short. The problem is you're living like you've got a second life in the vault. You don't. Every hour wasted is an hour you never get back. Every "I'll do it later" is one more nail in the coffin of your potential. Here's what winners do differently. They plan the night before. They attack the morning. They stack habits that reinforce their mission. And they treat time like the most valuable currency on earth. Because it is. Want to get your power back? Look at your week. Cut the fluff. Schedule what matters. Then follow through like your reputation is on the line. Because it is. Control isn't found in the minutes. It's built in the momentum. Motivation is a scam. You want control? That comes from consistency. From doing it on the days you don't feel like it, especially then. Here's the myth that's killing your progress. You think you need to feel good to do good. You think motivation is the key. That if you just find the right YouTube video, the perfect playlist, or the most inspirational quote, then maybe you'll finally take action. Wrong. Motivation is a drug, and you're addicted. It gives you a hit of energy, a temporary high, but like all drugs, it wears off. And when it does, you crash. But consistency is sober, it's cold, it's clear, and it's powerful as hell. Consistency means you show up when you're tired. You execute when no one's watching. You push forward when the spark is gone, and all you've got left is discipline and grit. That's where control lives. Not in the highs, but in the dull, gritty, unglamorous trenches of daily effort. Let me give you the reality. You're not going to feel like it. Most days, you won't. But you do it anyway. That's how winners operate. They build rituals that reinforce who they are, not how they feel. They don't skip workouts. They don't ghost their goals. They don't negotiate with laziness. And the more they do this, the more in control they become. Here's what most people miss. Momentum is the real motivator. It doesn't come before action, it comes after. Once you start stacking wins, even small ones, you start to trust yourself. You think control is about force, power? No. Real control is alignment. When your values, actions, and identity move as one, that's when nothing can stop you. Here's a truth that most people can't accept. But if you want to unlock real power, you need to get it through your skull. Control is not about forcing life into submission. It's about aligning yourself with a life you want to live. Now, I know you're probably thinking, that sounds soft. You're supposed to tell me to grind harder, fight through the obstacles, power through the storm. But here's the kicker. Fighting against yourself is why you're stuck. Real power comes when you stop resisting your true purpose, your true potential, and you start living in alignment with it. It's about doing the things that honor your best self, not just doing the things that feed your ego or your short-term desires. If you're out of alignment, nothing will work, no matter how hard you push. Here's what I mean. When your actions are out of sync with your values, you burn out. When your habits don't match your ambitions, you lose motivation. When your environment doesn't support your vision, you feel like you're treading water. But when you align yourself with your purpose, your standards, your actions, your focus, that's where real control is born. You don't need to force things, they just happen, naturally. It's not about grinding harder, it's about grinding smarter, by working with your purpose, not against it. It's about having the strength to say no to everything that doesn't serve the man you want to become. So if you're looking to take full control of your life, stop thinking it's about domination. It's about living in harmony with who you are meant to be. And when you do that, you become a force of nature. Alright, let's wrap this up. Here's everything we've covered. Take ownership of your life. No more outsourcing responsibility to excuses, to time, or to others. Shut the back doors. If you have an escape plan, you're already planning your failure. Commit or don't start. Stop being a slave to your emotions. Your feelings don't get to decide your actions. You do. Set higher standards, not just goals. Because goals are temporary. Standards are who you are. Control your environment. Your surroundings either build you up or tear you down. Choose wisely. Master your time. It's not a question of having enough time. It's a question of prioritizing what matters. Consistency is the key. Motivation will come and go. Consistency is what separates the men from the boys. Here's the hard truth you need to hear. Your future is built on the decisions you make today. Every moment you waste, every excuse you entertain, every time you put something off for tomorrow, that's one more step toward a future you'll regret. The best time to take control? It was yesterday. The second best time? Right now. Because here's the final challenge. The last question you need to ask yourself before you leave. If someone watched your life on a screen, would they see a man in control or just another guy pretending? Step up, close the back door, own it all. Because your life, your real, authentic, powerful life is waiting for you to take it.